backcourt of Anthony Hardaway and Nick Anderson. Hardaway taking up most of the slack offensively with Shaquille O'Neal in foul trouble the other day. And up front, Shaquille is certainly hoping to get more minutes in today. Dennis Scott and Horace Grant on the front line. And there's the head coach, Brian Hill, looking for his team to show more of a sense of urgency. He did not feel that was the case on Saturday for game number 3. Here are the Indiana Pacers. They open up with Mark Jackson, who had an outstanding all-around game, 13 assists on Saturday. Reggie Miller. And on the front line, it'll be Rik Smits, Rik McKee, who has been lifting his game offensively in this series, and Dale Davis. The coach of the Pacers, Larry Brown, hoping to keep the score down in the first half. Not satisfied with Saturday's first half.
Also, the Magic have to improve their rebounding.
Dale Davis and Shaquille O'Neal on the opening tip, and it's controlled by the Magic. Hardaway played by Jackson. O'Neal getting possession. Banking with Smits going right to the basket.
And play him head up to see what happens before they start coming down to double team.
Jackson for 3. Well, Mark Jackson, who had a solid all-around outing on Saturday, although he was not hitting his shot. Dennis Scott for 3.
Shooting better from beyond the arc, 5 for 10 now than he is regularly from the field.
O'Neal on the rebound. Hardaway racing it down. Hardaway pulls up for 3, and he has been on fire.
Out to 6'11" Dale Davis.
O'Neal around Smits. Once they did here in game 3, they've hit their first 4 shots. Bad pass. Hardaway has a 3-on-1. Anderson hit by McKee. Yes, and it counts.
Can be quite as mean and testy as New York.
Magic with a 13-3 lead. With 3 minutes gone by in this first quarter, their first 6 shots. Remember, in game 1, the Pacers opened up with that 23-5 advantage, but then lost the game. Orlando came from way back to win. Here's McKee. And the tip is good by Dale Davis. Frame shot. Miller with a runner. Jackson. Well, Mark Jackson. And the Magic just loves the tempo that they have been able to force here in the early moments. This is their style of basketball. And Shaquille O'Neal dominating, but a loose ball foul is called. And that is number 2 on Shaquille. The 2 fouls.
Well, I'm surprised that the Pacers did not come down sooner and double team. McKee came late after the ball was on the floor, but Shaq is so also, Dale Davis is going to be left with a lot, as is Antonio Davis, because of the big men of Orlando trying to help out inside defensively.
Miller for 3. Reggie Miller. For Grant. And able to swing it out. Anderson not able to hit the 3. Here comes McKee in the open floor for Jackson. So the Pacers with a good run to close.
Can dominate in a running type situation.
Horace Grant coming up short. He thought he was fouled. 9-0 run for Indiana, looking for more. Dale Davis dumped it off Rik Smits. Game right at the start. They're trying to quicken the pace again, although Indiana is in the midst of a good run. Orlando has missed its last 8 shots after hitting their first 6. Here's Jeff Turner, who just checked in, and he has had...
Jeff, he has a lot of confidence in his perimeter shot. It's something he works very long and hard hours on.
Here's Scott off the pump. So Workman with Scott and Miller in the 3-guard set. Just under 3 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Mitchell on the drive.
But as the Magic have had problems defending people off the dribble.
That's a rare miss from downtown for Hardaway. Miller penetrating. Regroup and hit on the drive to bring the Pacers within 1. Oh, Hardaway may have gotten away with a palm. Here's Scott from deep. Dennis Scott.
For the Pacers was trying to shout out instructions to his team to take a foul there. They had one to give before the clock hit the 2-minute mark, but the Pacers didn't respond.
Again, Mitchell on the drive. This time he was stripped. Kept alive by the Pacers. Scott for three. Rebound, Antonio Davis. Left in this first quarter. Farrell is on the floor for the first time. Has not seen much time in this series. And that is Farrell. Indiana leads 24-22.
Well, the offensive end for Indiana looks like the wide open spaces without the big people, Smits and O'Neal, in the game.
The first two games of this series. The Magic up 26-24. 35 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Mitchell.
Be better off keeping his arms high in the air so the officials see him possibly not fouling.
Byron Scott called on that last foul. Hardaway on a post-up, a beautiful move.
There's just not a lot of firepower on the floor for Indiana right now with Rik Smits and Reggie Miller and Derek McKee all on the bench. You got to try to figure out where they're going to get some offense.
Well, Antonio Davis.
They did not have any good offensive rebounding chances.
Brian Shaw trying to get it to Anthony Hardaway. And Hardaway with the steal. It's a 4-on-1. Hardaway for Mitchell. Serving up.
Right back to Hardaway as Shaq running interference down the middle of the floor. And Sam Mitchell getting one throw.
Regular season right behind Orlando in terms of success at home. Successive rejections by Orlando, but kept alive by the Pacers.
They're playing hard, not worrying about the consequences right now of his foul situation.
And Smits only 1 of 6 from the field. Reggie Miller and Mark Jackson have returned. Here is Shaquille O'Neal.
In transition, get baskets off offensive rebound and get a lot of dunks. They'll live with the turnaround jump shot and the jump hook.
And there is.
Say that on NBC, can I?
Dennis really has to get a grip on himself. Reggie Miller hitting the three. And the Pacers now lead 35-32. 5 minutes gone by in the second quarter.
Kid in the nose and eye area has some blood showing, so he had to come out of the ball game.
Smits getting in deep and rejected. That's the third block for Shaquille. Anthony Bowie just came on. Rebound O'Neal.
More damage in that kind of situation and on the offensive board rather than trying to work in the post all the time.
Ran over to help, knocked it away. Miller for three. Yes.
Do a thing with the referees. He's going to go out and play his game and play it very hard.
Anderson off the lead. Nick Anderson.
Derek not really comfortable with the three-point shots, despite the fact he is 7 for 10 in this series. Oh my goodness. Penny Hardaway. On the previous play, Reggie Miller got caught in front of Nick Anderson. Here he got caught right in between, trying to get help could come.
Indiana maintaining possession. Jackson for three. Donald Royal not getting the playing time with the emergence of Dennis Scott. Ever since the ankle injury, it has not been the same for Royal. There's Scott for three. Yes.
On average, Indiana with the big share there.
And Orlando has recaptured the lead. They have hit 8 of 12 from the field in the second quarter. They double up on Smits. Good job on Smits, but he gets one in the foul. Offense in the rebounding department. Here's the double team on Smits. Gives it back, Miller. And rebounded by Dale Davis.
To get number 4 on Shaquille O'Neal.
And they go to Smits. Draws the double. Smits with the open jump.
fallen into a little bit of a false sense of security. The fact that they have made so many three-point shots, that they cannot rely on that. They have to get back into this game with defense.
And then a lead by 6. Orlando got off to the good start. They hit their first 6 shots. They were up 15-3. Indiana came roaring back with a good run. Dale Davis wide open.
With both Dennis Scott and Horace Grant coming to double team, no way should Dennis Scott leave that basket area, because that's where Dale Davis is going to be left wide open.
Jackson very physical with Hardaway. Hardaway got the step. Ran on the steal. Smits with the rebound. Jackson accelerates. Miller for 3.
Game on the road against a team like the Indiana Pacers, they may be feeling too comfortable that all they have to do in this series is win their home games. That could be a mistake.
They double up on Scott. Horace Grant, yes. The problem has popped out on a number of occasions. Dale Davis, a very important player in the Indiana scheme. 7-point lead for the Pacers. Jackson for 3. Well here today, 5 of 7. He has 13 points.
And the reason he's so wide open, his defensive man, Penny Hardaway, going down the double team, and nobody else for the Magic will come over and rotate to him. They're going to wait to see if he'll hurt him with that jumper time and time again.
Third quarter. O'Neal getting the step and not able to hit. That's the second jump that he has blown. Reggie Miller.
That one, he has gotten away with many more rougher pushes than that one, but he's got to be careful as well.
Indiana leads by 12. Here's Scott. And a Scott taking it. Was hit 2 from downtown. 18 points in all. Indiana 67, Orlando 57. 4.5 remaining. Third quarter. Smits facing the double team. Here's Byron Scott. Foot on the line, that's a 2-pointer, and his first field goal. Byron Scott missing his first 4 shots. Oh, Hardaway. Smits got bottled up. Good play by Grant coming over on the double team, leading to this, a fast break. Scott from Anderson. He loves to do it with spurts. The Pacers lead by 8 again. Jackson wide open. This time, could not put it down. Here comes Hardaway. Penetration going all the way.
Not taking a timeout situation here, because the Magic on a roll right now, and whatever was said and whatever happened in that last timeout made a difference for the Magic.
3 minutes to go in the third. McKee, who has been quiet, leads 71-63. Dennis Scott working against Byron Scott. Anthony Hardaway guarded by Mark Jackson. Here's Scott for 3. Rebound, Grant. Horace Grant with the fadeaway. McKee, Hardaway reaching in for the steal, and Hardaway puts it down. Anthony Hardaway with a sensational all-around performance here this afternoon.
Well, he is always ready to step it up no matter what the circumstances, but in particular when Shaquille O'Neal struggles, Anthony Hardaway is always ready to go. The group that Indiana has out on the floor right now, again, tough to find offense, but that'll do it right there.
Hardaway, Nick Anderson, all with Shaquille O'Neal and Horace Grant, being used by Brian Hill to open up this fourth quarter. Shaw passing on the shot, getting it to O'Neal. And for Shaquille, his first bucket in some time. He has 16 points, and Orlando is within 2.
Well, in Game 3, Antonio Davis was able to bump Shaq early, keep him off the block. So far in this game, as Horace Grant has a steal.
Alert play by Grant. Hardaway, and he's tied the game at 75. Miller played very well by Shaw. Miller forcing. Rebound O'Neal. Shaw in the open floor. Anderson for 3. Yes. And the Anderson. And back come the Pacers, who have hit only one of their last 10 from the field. Smits for McKee.
And made a last-moment adjustment.
Matt, you mentioned earlier perhaps the lack of the sense of urgency on the part of Orlando. Both clubs now playing with a sense of desperation in this fourth quarter. Shaw, who was reluctant. Orlando ball as we resume. And Brian Shaw, who came up limping, sitting down. So it's Hardaway, Anderson, and Scott along with Rollins and Grant. Scott with the shot clock running down during the regular season. The Magic with a three-point lead. Smits with the beautiful thing.
Miller just looks like he has no legs left in the fourth quarter. We have seen him go cold in previous fourth quarters.
Hardaway rejected. Hardaway for three. Fielded by Grant. Horace Grant with a big. Also been hesitating. Has not been looking to take the shot. Jackson does. O'Neal with the rebound. Hardaway breaking. He stumbled and lost the ball. And a foul. Loose ball foul.
Able to secure the ball and then get undercut by Nick Anderson.
McKee, 74% for the season. And very casually hits both. 85-84. Orlando. Just under 3 minutes to go in the fourth. O'Neal out to set the pick. Hardaway with the snap. Hardaway on the reverse.
Quarter play for Orlando. That pick and roll with Shaquille with Penny going to his left. Normally Shaq will roll on the play. Sometimes Penny will throw the lob up there.
Miller with 6 on the 24. Goes to the drive. Reggie Miller
Pumping it to the other side of the rim.
Orlando with the ball. They lead by 1 point. We're down to 2 minutes to go. Shaquille O'Neal again not able to hit the stuff, but he was fouled. That's his.
It's either he's trying too hard or taking his eye off the target, and you can see his head turn a little bit to the left as they're hitting the heel of the rim. And of course the other thing is he anticipates the fact that he is going to be fouled and fouled hard, and maybe he's thinking about it.
Shaquille 0 for 6 at the line. 0 for 8.
This fight to nail one.
Having an embarrassing time at the foul line. Reaching called on Grant. Horace Grant has fouled out. The line is 75% free throw shooter during the regular season. You see 84 for the Surge. He's tied the game at 87.
For you.
Well, that's a major loss, particularly involved in a close contest. Anderson able to get to the loose ball. Pacers and Magic tied at 87. A minute and a half left in regulation. Shaquille O'Neal picks up number 6. Oh, might be in there in some form.
I don't think he had an offer for big numbers, but for some 20 attempts, and now the Magic going, just leaving Tree Rollins and Penny Hardaway, and if he did that, he might put Mark Jackson maybe on Jeff Turner.
For Smits. Make it 19 along with 7 assists. This quarter is back on Hill inbound. 28 4/10 seconds remaining in the fourth. 20 on the shot clock. They are on their feet at Market Square Arena. Hardaway once again guarded by McKee. Hardaway for Turner. Hardaway checking the clock. Backs it up to go now against Dale Davis. Here's Brian Shaw for 3. Brian Shaw, who hit a 3.
Success going inside to Rik Smits. The last time they did it, the Magic left Tree Rollins alone with him.
Indiana has 1 timeout left. They had some trouble getting it in. Down to 10 seconds. Jackson. Miller taking the shot and hitting a 3 for Reggie Miller to give Indiana a 2-point lead with 5 and 2 higher to this.
Well, looked like a high screen roll with Smits. Mark Jackson forced to go the other way, and fortunately for Indiana, it was towards their best clutch shooter.
Hardaway down to 3. Here is the 3-pointer. Yes! With 1 and 3
he could get a good look and a follow-through on this shot. He pounds both feet into the floor to get up and over Haywood Workman. Very close to the three-point line.
He will throw in. It's got to be a catch and shoot. Here it is. Smits with the catch and the shot. Concluding with this, Rik Smits with the move on Tree Rollins, able to hit. The Pacers win it 94-92.